Welcome to another Rolled in Reacts episode. Customer states, yeah, I had a clunking noise for a while, but I had a beer and fixed it myself. And this customer had installed some radio gear in his truck, all by himself. And this is what happens when you don't believe that oil changes are actually necessary. And the owner of this car had installed a new touchscreen radio in a pretty creative way. And this car came in with quite the oil leak after the owner had tried to fix it by himself using some silicone. Customer states, there's a loose nut behind the wheel, and I'm pretty sure it ain't me this time. The owner of this car had done an oil and filter change by himself, but came in complaining about the car now feeling sluggish when accelerating. And the owner of this car had installed a new battery in their very own creative way. This customer had built their very own cat anti-theft system. Customer states, a friend of a friend installed a new oil pan gasket, but car now leaks more oil than it did before. Please check and advise. Customer states, I have no clue what happened here. Please advise. This car came in after the owner had hit a curb going a little faster than normal. This fleet truck had been to another shop for a tire rotation, but had to come in again after the driver said the steering wheel had started to shake while doing 90 on the highway. Customer states, I think I hit something on my way home from work. And you can never have enough AdBlue in your diesel engine. Or can you? And this guy had replaced his own head gasket using a YouTube tutorial, but had to come in 2 weeks later because the car felt sluggish and the engine temperature was higher than normal. This customer came in after they had raced their buddy at a stoplight, but then suddenly heard a loud clunk from the engine and lost pretty much all power. Customer states, hit a chipmunk on my way to the grocery store. Please check and advise. This customer was driving on the highway when their car suddenly stopped. Customer states, car feels like a boat when turning. And this customer came in complaining about a vibration and heavy steering wheel after they had done an alignment and tire rotation at a different shop the weekend before. And this car came in for a pre-purchase inspection, and thankfully so, because it was just seconds away from literally falling apart. And this BMW rolled in with some starting issues and a battery warning light. Turns out that the generator had some issues and a pulley was mysteriously not in its place. And sometimes even the mechanics are surprised by what they find under the hood. This customer came in with their Honda Civic because of poor braking power after their grandson had installed new calipers on it in a pretty creative way. This customer had installed some new wheels and spacers, all by himself, but had to come in because now his steering wheel is wobbling hella bad. And this Chevy Vortec engine had a bit of a coolant leak. The mechanic said that it was caused by a leak in intake gasket. And this customer came in with his truck for an oil change and said that he takes great care of his truck and always keeps it parked in a heated garage. When your second oil change looks like this, you're probably in trouble. The owner of this Audi A3 came in saying that their transmission has started to make strange sounds and sometimes wouldn't go into gear after they had modified it at another shop 10 days ago. Customer states, starting issues. And this is why you should always check underneath when buying used, even if the car looks like a gem from a distance. This car rolled in like this after the owner said it had started to handle a bit higgledy-wiggledy. And this customer came in after having brushed against some curbsides. And this car came in with some brake issues. This truck came in for an exhaust leak after the customer had DIY'd their own exhaust system. This Jeep Wrangler came in because it was running pretty badly and losing a lot of coolant. The mechanic said that he thinks this is likely caused by a cracked head. Customer states, the gear stick gets all excited when I press the gas. Customer states, wife borrowed the car and said she hit some road debris on the freeway. And this car came in after the owner said it handled like a refrigerator full of bowling balls. I wonder why. Probably smells really nice, especially on a warm, sunny day. This Kenworth semi-truck rolled in after the driver said it had gotten really heavy to steer. Turns out that someone had topped up the power steering fluid with sunflower oil. This customer came in saying that they have some brake issues, but only want the bare minimum fixed because they don't want no funny business. And this car had more than just one owner. This customer was in at this shop 2 weeks prior and got a price quote for some brake work, which they thought was too expensive, so they did the work themselves, but they ended up having to come back because they now have a bad vibration when braking. This Mustang came in with quite the misfire after the owner had changed the spark plugs on it all by himself. Turns out that he accidentally plugged the spark plug wires in the wrong order. This customer was apparently in the shop a week prior for an exhaust leak, but declined all repairs, saying that her brother is so good with cars that he will fix it. But they still had to come in to get a new exhaust installed. And this window couldn't decide if it wants to go up or down. The owner of this pickup truck was towing a giant metal garden gnome and decided to pass a car on the freeway when he suddenly heard a loud bang. Customer states, it's really hard to put it in gear. Had it checked at another shop, but they couldn't find anything wrong with it. Yep, these people are out there driving among us. But don't worry, because the other tire is just like the first one. And this Audi engine came in with quite the list of problems. And this customer definitely didn't come in too soon to have their tie rods replaced. This customer's Mini Cooper had an oil change at a quick lube shop, but 2 days later it couldn't start. Turned out that the other shop had broken the dipstick and it had somehow managed to dislodge the timing chain, which caused some major engine damage. Thankfully, the customer's insurance covered the costs for a new engine. And this customer came in saying that they had some starting issues after it had rained and temperatures had dropped below freezing the day after. The mechanic found the battery to be totally enclosed in a block of ice. Customer states, I think something's burning inside my car. This customer came in saying, had to step on the brakes real hard to not hit a squirrel, but afterwards the brakes felt a bit tight. I'd have to agree. Customer states, rattling sound from drivetrain, please advise. This vehicle came in after the owner had a horrible grinding sound when braking that gradually had become worse the past 6 months. And this car came in like this after the owner had done some work on it all by themselves. And this customer came in after their friend had timed their engine for them. This car last had an oil change at the factory where it was built and had to come in because the stock oil filter had literally started to fall apart, causing the engine light to turn on. Satisfying. And this customer said that they have started getting a funky smell in the cab, and anytime they go on longer trips they get a runny nose and their eyes start itching. And sometimes the quick fixes are really that quick. This truck came in for its yearly inspection, and this is what the technician ended up finding. And this is what happens when you screw the spark plugs in too tight. The threads, they just don't want to leave the spark plug hole. The owner of this car had installed his very own homemade exhaust, but had to come in because the car didn't accelerate very well. This customer had their buddy fix their fuel pump for them for free, but had to come in because now the car wouldn't start. This Hyundai came in because it suddenly stopped moving while the owner was driving on the highway. Customer states, "Something's wrong with my wheel, can you check it out?" The owner of this car came in because they had a screech and grinding sound at lower speeds after they had some brake work done at a different garage. Turns out that they had only installed the calipers with a single bolt and the wheel nuts were finger tight. Customer states, clunking noises when driving on the freeway. And this customer apparently hit a curb doing 50 miles an hour. And this mechanic just wanted to switch this Chrysler's dashboard. A fine example of the mutual love felt between car engineers and mechanics. Customer states, metallic clunking sounds when driving over bumps and car handles weird. Customer states, my car clunks really bad, can you check it out? This car came in with a bit of an oil leak. Luckily, the customer came in on time to get it fixed. And this engine had some intake issues. And this customer had their friend help them fix their brakes, but had to come in because now they don't have any brakes anymore. And this customer came in saying that their car floods anytime it rains, even just a little bit. A little cleaning of the drains and the issue was fixed. And this customer say that they hear a clunking sound when going over bumps. And this customer had hit a curb going a bit too fast. Customer states, hit a small hole in the road and now I have a growling noise when driving. And this customer came in saying that he hears a loud whining sound every time he floors it. And this customer came in with some brake issues after they had taken it slow while driving down a mountain. Customer states, I have to keep pumping my tires up all the time. Please advise. And this truck must have been towing something pretty heavy. This customer came in and said, I think my car is octane intolerant because it's been sounding like this for a while now. Customer states, it feels like car is leaning more to one side than the other. I think you're right. This car came in for an oil change, but when the mechanics saw the interior, they were the ones to decline all repairs. This mechanic had a bit of a tough time reaching one of the spark plugs, so he got a bit creative. And this truck somehow drove in like this, and apparently just needed an oil change, said the owner. This customer came in saying that they did not need new brake rotors, but later ended up accepting all repairs. And this customer was afraid that their oil filter might fall off, so they made sure to tighten it extra hard. This guy came in with his car asking for some new brake pads and that the mechanic would spare him any BS about his calipers and rotors looking like this or like that, because he's heard it all before. This customer was apparently driving on the highway behind a logging truck when a smaller log fell out and they accidentally drove over it. The owner of this car hadn't had their brakes checked since buying it new 8 years ago and finally had to come in because they almost didn't have any brakes left. And hopefully this mechanic has some really thick gloves prepared for this oil change. And the owner of this car came in saying that they had problems with their brakes and wanted it looked at. This vehicle came in because the owner complained about a noise from the wheels. The owner of this Volkswagen Golf came in saying, "Car feels a bit jerky at idle, but once on the highway it goes away." And apparently this wheel weight had gotten stuck on the brake caliper after the owner had done some brake work together with their father. This customer came in complaining about strange noises coming from their wheels. This Hyundai Tucson came in because the owner said it handled like a sheet of plywood on a windy day. This BMW X3 came in with a handful of problems, to say the least. This 2004 Chevy Avalanche came in with quite the clunking sounds. This customer came in saying, "The AC doesn't really work, and whenever I turn it on, it sounds like a jackhammer." Customer states, "Truck won't start, please advise." The technician found 2 destroyed rocker arms and that the timing chain had snapped off into 4 different pieces. Customer states, "I can't tell how much gas I got left." The owner of this car said they had a slight thumping sound when going over bumps. Customer states, "Was driving home from work when I suddenly heard a loud bang." And this customer had lost his only set of car keys, so he improvised a bit. This car managed to roll in on its own after the customer had driven over a metal beam at 80 miles an hour. And this car came in because the customer complained about a constant tire leak and wanted it checked out. This customer had their friend go through their engine and also rebuild the injectors, and this is what it ended up sounding like. Customer states, "Poor acceleration, please advise." And the owner of this vehicle had replaced the spark plugs by himself, but now his car has a misfire and barely idles. Looks like he must have missed something. And this engine apparently makes its own ice cream. This car came in looking like this after having been parked for a week on the street while the owner was on holiday. And the owner of this car came in complaining about a grinding noise when turning after having been parked in a grocery store parking lot for a few days. And this car came in because it had started to feel sluggish, said the owner. Looks good. And apparently this Jeep has its evaporator drain right above the engine mount, which is very handy when you want only one particular part of your car to rust like crazy. This Ram EcoDiesel rolled in because the owner had to add coolant to it all the time and the truck had overheated, but it didn't have any visible leaks. The mechanic said that he pressured and block tested it, test drove it, but it didn't have any leaks nor did it overheat. Once he removed the upper radiator hose, he discovered what was causing the issue. Let us know in the comments what you think this stuff actually is. Customer states, there's a funky smell inside the driver's cab. Could possibly be the AC filter. Please check and advise. Customer states, car handles like a boat and I hear water sounds when driving. And this Dodge probably needs a new thrust bearing. And this car came in after the customer complained about feeling every bump in the road. And here's another one if you couldn't get enough from the first one. This mail car is a bit strange. You drive it on the right because it's a mail car, right? But you can't get in from the driver's side and they haven't installed a pulley system to the passenger side, so you kinda have to steer like this. This Saturn Outlook came in because the interior carpet was soaking wet. The mechanic found a broken drain tube to be the issue. This customer came in with quite the steering wheel wobble after they had just filled up the tires by themselves at a local gas station the night before. And this Ford Escape rolled in because it was missing a few parts. And God only knows when this car had its last oil change. Yup, looks great. And the owner of this car had installed new shocks at another shop 2 months ago, but had to come in because he had started getting a rattling sound at higher speeds. The mechanic thankfully caught this one on time and spared the customer a giant headache. Sounds great. And this customer said that they keep hearing water sounds when they open the rear door. This customer came in saying that their brakes have started to feel weird lately and asked the mechanics to have a look. The owner of this car came in saying that it feels a bit loose when taking larger turns. This truck apparently had its own little private club inside the glove box. This customer came in saying that their car had starting issues and that they couldn't tell how much gas they had left in the tank. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.